Content creation requires you to produce, to edit, to consume your own work during the editing process, and then to do it all over again for the next piece. Content curation requires you to route, to add a video to a playlist, to make a category decision, to build a structured record of what you consume. The effort differentiation is real and it's significant. So why does the creator economy treat creation as the obvious path forward for any content consumer who wants to go deeper, when curation is sitting right there as a co-equal route that costs significantly less and contributes something neither the creator nor the content consumer can provide on their own? That's what this video is about. Introducing As an Aggregator, a content marketing operation for Mr. Pollock 890, our playlist archive channel, designed to get the word out about the content that we curate. Check us out on YouTube. Back to the content. Everything I do here is built around one question. What does it actually mean to consume content deliberately? Not passively, not as a scroll habit, not as background noise, deliberately. And over the course of building this practice, I realized something I couldn't find anyone else saying. There are three fundamentally different roles inside the creator economy: content consumers, content creators, and content curators. And each one requires its own doctrine. Each one has its own problem set, and collapsing them into a single audience produces a weaker and less honest framework than holding all three separately. Before I get into all three of them, take a look at your screen. Mr. Pollock 890 is the playlist archive channel, and what you're looking at is Culture Commentary 3, a quick pick series, titles and thumbnails, curated by Mr. Pollock 890. If you're new here, the fastest way to understand what this channel is actually doing is not to watch more videos. It's to go to our playlist archive channel, Mr. Pollock 890. Mr. Pollock 890 is where over 15 years of content consumption has been organized into structured playlists across dozens of categories, so you can navigate what's actually worth consuming without the algorithm deciding for you. There's a Start Here playlist on that channel, specifically for people encountering this practice for the first time. Go there first. Or, if you already know what type of content you're looking for, browse the publicly available playlist directly. Some of the most specific material lives in the post section as unlisted playlists. Check that out too. The link is in the description. Mr. Pollock 890. Go explore. Now back to the three audience triad. Playlist theory for content consumers. Playlist theory for content creators. And playlist theory for content curators didn't come from a design session. They didn't come from market research. They didn't come from a framework I built top down and then applied. They came from the sequence in which I actually lived them. I started as a content consumer. That's all I ever wanted to be. I wanted to consume content. I had a problem. My subscription box was overwhelming. My feed had no memory. The content I actually wanted to come back to kept disappearing into the algorithm's version of the past, which meant it was gone. So I started using playlists, not to recommend content to other people, not to build a channel, just to organize my own consume digest, my own record of what I was consuming, what I wanted to consume, and what I'd already consumed. That's where playlist theory for content consumers was created. From the demand side, from someone trying to solve a problem the platform wasn't solving for them. But eventually I realized something. This wasn't just for me. I wanted to share what I was consuming. I wanted to share the content. I wanted to share the experience of navigating it. And that's where playlist theory for content curators enters the picture. Because sharing your consumed digest with other people, in a structured, organized, navigable form is not the same thing as creating content. It's curation. And curation is its own role. But here's the part I didn't see coming. In order to be a content curator, I had to actually market what I was doing. People had to understand what it was. People had to understand why it mattered. And that's where playlist theory for content creators comes in. Not because I wanted to be a content creator, I didn't. I still don't, fully. But in order to market curation as a practice, in order to make it visible inside the creator economy, I had to learn to use playlists as a creator would use them, to package ideas, to organize publishing, to build an architecture that serves an audience. So the three doctrines aren't three versions of the same idea. They're three answers to three different questions, arrived at in sequence, each one built on the one before it. Now let me take each one seriously. The content consumer's problem is this: infinite content with no system to manage it, a library with no structure, a feed with no memory, a consumed digest that accumulates as residue rather than as a deliberate constructed record. Playlist theory for content consumers is the doctrine built specifically to solve that problem. So what does it actually give a content consumer that the platform itself does not? It gives you structure. It gives you routing. It gives you a way to index your consumed digest using the platform's own tools, primarily in the form of playlists, in a way the platform was never designed to teach you. The platform gives you playlists and collections on TikTok. It even gives you built-in playlists like videos and watch later playlists. But those can easily become buckets, undifferentiated piles, rather than formal containers with the intent behind them. And watch later specifically, you can't get rid of it. It's one of the only built-in playlists and the platform surfaces. It's one of the only built-in playlists the platform surfaces first. It shows up on your home screen. It conditions your experience as a consumer, whether you've thought about it or not. So part of what playlist theory for content consumers teaches is how to deal with what the platform gives you and how to understand the way those defaults are already shaping your lived experience as a content consumer. That's not a small thing, because most people are accepting the defaults, and the defaults are not designed for your consumed digest. They're designed for the platform's retention logic. So the first move is this. It begins with a title, because that title, that name you give a playlist, is the link between your intent and why you're adding your specific video into a specific playlist. It's that link between that intent. And that reason, that intent, tells you something about yourself over time. When you click add a video to a playlist, you're not just saving a video. You're making a decision. You're developing a neural pathway. And that neural pathway compounds over time. Your mind is actively determining how to index content based on what you actually want from it. That friction point, that one deliberate click, is what creates conscious competence over what you're consuming and why. Most people don't have that. Most people are consuming passively. And if that's who you are, there's no shame in that. Passive consumption is real. It serves a function. But if you want to elevate yourself from a content consumer into an active content consumer, playlist theory is your first step, because it provides the technique and the naming structures behind how to start using playlists to index the content you consume as a reflection of things you would like to consume, things you are consuming, and things you have consumed. Before the platform decides what's relevant. The algorithm surfaces it, you watch it, it disappears. After the system, you have an intent behind your titling. You have an intent behind what you're consuming. You know where you would index something as a reflection of a category, as a reflection of when you decided you wanted to consume it. Whether that's an ASAP quick pick, your highest priority transit queue for content you need now, or a category-specific quick pick organized by domain, you get to develop conscious competence over why you're consuming the content you want to consume. And that intermediate friction point is what distills the insight. That is what playlist theory for content consumers actually gives you. That is what the platform itself does not. Everything I just described, the titling schema, the playlist structure, the category organization, you can see it in practice on Mr. Pollock 890. That channel is the live archive of this methodology. It's where over 15 years of active content consumption has been organized by category, by time period, by priority queue, into a navigable structure you can actually move through. If you haven't been there yet, the Start Here playlist is the fastest orientation. But if you already have a domain in mind, natural science, esoteric content, geopolitics, AI and technology, finance, there are category-specific playlists there waiting for you, similarly to the one you see on your screen. Some of the more specific playlists live in the post section as unlisted, but our primary focus is the home screen and the playlist tab. Check it out there. Mr. Pollock 890. Link is in the description. Now, playlist theory for content creators. Playlist theory for content creators. I want to be honest about where this one is. Playlist theory for content creators is not as developed as the other two. I'm still coming into my own as a content creator, and the doctrine here reflects that. The technique is real, but I'm naming it as a work in progress because presenting it as fully formed when it isn't would be less honest than the practice deserves. So here's what we have built. Content creators face a packaging problem that most of them have never fully diagnosed. You might have 100 published videos, 200, 300, 400. But can a brand new visitor who just discovered your channel navigate from zero to your most recent content in a structured and meaningful way? Have you built the architecture that makes that journey possible? Most creators haven't. And the reason is simple. They're thinking from the supply side. They're thinking about getting the video out. They're not thinking from the demand side, from what a content consumer actually needs when they stumble onto a new channel and are trying to orient themselves. From the demand side, when I discover a new creator, the first thing I do is go to their playlists. I sort by oldest, I sort by most popular, I sort by last video added, I sort by most recent video. I get a sense of the trajectory. Not just what they published in the past, but what can I expect from them going forward. That's what a content creator's playlist architecture should make possible. Most creators haven't built it yet. The primary instrument we've developed inside playlist theory for content creators is the static video anchor playlist. A static video anchor playlist is a playlist built around a single video at its center, where the video now exists as a part of a navigable structure rather than as a standalone piece. Inside that structure, you can include a navigation video, a table of contents video, a comments channel video, which is a secondary channel created specifically to house comments section level conversation, separate from the main listed video. You can also include public and unlisted videos inside that structure, creating what I'd call a dark forest within the YouTube cybernetic ecology. An interlocking network of playlists and videos, some public, some unlisted, that increase your surface area with your audience in different ways. We've also developed the structured playlist arc, creating seasons for your content, different eras, different genres, similar to how we create ASAP quick picks, category-specific quick picks, and temporal quick picks on the consumer side. And the practice of building playlists that are 60% or more content that is not yours, samplers of adjacent material, competitors and allies, content that is rising and useful and adjacent to what you're building. Because so much of what creators do is packaging ideas and synthesizing content for consumers, they can do that through the act of curation. Not as a curator necessarily, but as a creator organizing content for their own channel, using the content from other people's channels to market their own. That is what playlist theory for content creators addresses, and I don't think I've stated it clearly enough. We're talking about two distinct techniques when we're talking about playlist theory for content creators. One is a static video anchor playlist that can use unlisted and listed videos and playlists in order to create an interlinking ladder structure where you can include table of contents, summary videos, and specific channel response, comment response videos in order to interact with your audience in both a public manner and an unlisted intermediate layer that you can alert them through live videos, published videos, or posts. And the secondarily is to create playlists with majority other people's content, specifically so that you can highlight buckets of content related to other people's decision-making process. So this is what playlist theory for content creators addresses. At this stage, with this level of development, more will be built. The creator economy has spent years recognizing two roles: content consumers, content creators, as if those are the only two positions available to someone operating inside the cybernetic ecology of YouTube. But there's a third role that has never been properly legitimated: the content curator. Let me tell you why it's been missing. I'm going to start with the honest answer, not the theoretical one. I'm going to start with why it was missing for me. Listen, I was just a content consumer. That's all I ever wanted to be. But I wanted something more. I wanted to share the content I consumed with other people. I wanted to share my experience as a content consumer. I wanted to be able to market that experience, to actually monetize content consumption. That was the goal. That's been the goal from the beginning. And here is where the tension lives. In order to be a content consumer genuinely, fully, as an identity, you are diametrically opposed to content creation. Because once you become a content creator, you're no longer a content consumer. It's a seesaw. One end tips, the other lifts. The more you're creating, the less you're consuming. The more you're consuming, the less you're creating. I haven't fully resolved that tension. I'm still navigating it, trying not to burn out on one side while I'm working on the other because it's real, and pretending it doesn't exist would be less honest than the practice deserves. So the question became, is there a third position? Is there a middle way? The answer I keep coming back to is yes. Content curation is the middle way, not supply side, not demand side, the middle way, the third path. Now, here's where the theoretical ground lands. Most of our technical infrastructure, the internet, search, social graphs, reflects a specific legacy from graph theory, nodes, and edges, connecting discrete points. But in the wake of Stephen Wolfram's work, we realized that most of what graph theory was trying to be accomplished could be accomplished through the hypergraph, not just edges between two nodes, but hyper edges that connect multiple nodes, simultaneously. So when we're talking about Stephen Wolfram's work, we're talking about introducing graph theory from an abstract conceptual basis into an actual actionable applications based, where we're applying it to playlists. We're applying it to the content that we consume. We're applying it to the landscape that we have sought to formalize. And then interacting with that, I realized that I was backwards rationalizing something. If a playlist is a hyperedge, if a playlist is a structure that connects multiple videos, multiple concepts, multiple time periods, multiple categories simultaneously, then a playlist is not just a convenience feature, it's a relational artifact. And it deserves structural recognition inside the creator economy. And if playlist deserves recognition, then the people who build them deliberately, who organize them, who route them into their consumed digest, deserves to be recognized as a distinct role. Not consumers, not creators, curators. And maybe we need to reconsider the name entirely. Maybe it's not the creator economy. Maybe it's the curator economy. Maybe it's the consumer economy. There will always be a place for content creators. We would be nowhere without them, without the content they create for us to consume and to curate. But the fact that we start from the term creator economy, that's its own deficit. It reflects a worldview where creators are the apex rather than one equal pillar within three. So what does the content curator actually provide? The algorithm focuses on retention. It's not optimizing to send you down rabbit holes. It's not giving you the unknown unknowns that were present in the early days of YouTube. What a content curator provides is a hypergraph spoke, a static hypergraph reference point. Instead of dealing only with the algorithm, another content consumer outputs playlists, outputs scaffoldings of content that reflect their consumed digest, their habitual patterns of consumption, in a way that is fundamentally different from anything the algorithm's home screen gives you. That playlist is not just a list of videos, it's a curated bundle. It connects videos in ways that are unique, structured and non-structured, linear and non-linear, sorted by most popular, sorted by date published, sorted by date added, or manually arranged as a static or dynamic record of what someone actually consumed. And what that provides for any content consumer who wants access to something outside their filter bubble is a way to reach through another super user's consume digest and find what the algorithm would have never surfaced for them. That is a powerful disposition. That is what legitimizing the curator as a co-equal third pillar actually changes about how we think about value in the creator economy. It changes the value of content consumers because now content consumers have a path to monetize their content consumption, not by becoming creators, but by becoming curators. The middle way, the third path. Before the final piece, Mr. Pollock 890 is the living example of everything I just described. It is a content curator's consume digest, organized as a publicly navigable archive over 15 years of active media consumption. Every playlist on that channel is a hypergraph spoke to a specific domain: natural science, esoteric content, geopolitics, technology and AI, finance, and culture commentary in general. If you want to see what a content consumer's consume digest actually looks like, go to Mr. Pollock 890. Start with the Start Here playlist if this is your first time, or go straight into the playlist tab to find out what you're looking for. The Posts section has unlisted playlists for more specific domains. Mr. Pollik. Description below. Now the effort differential. Here is the asymmetry. Content creation requires you to produce, to edit, to consume your own work during the editing process, and then to do it all over again for the next piece. I know now. Now, content curation requires you to route, to add a video into a playlist, to make a category decision, to structure a record of what you consume. The effort differential is real, and it's significant. So why does the creator economy treat creation as the obvious elevation path for any content consumer who wants to go deeper, when curation is sitting right there as a co-equal route that costs significantly less and contributes something the creator economy cannot provide on their own as a consumer or a creator? The honest answer is this: there's no money in content consumption. Hate to break it to you, that's why. When a content consumer develops an insight, when they start to see patterns, when they start to know their domain, the next natural move has always been creation. Because you want to synthesize what you've consumed. And synthesis is creation. And creation has a monetization path. Content consumption doesn't pay the bills until it does. Until you've packaged the content you consume so well and marketed it so well that you're able to make something real out of the content other people create by connecting it, by organizing it, by acting as a hypergraph spoke that links content together in a way the creator's own surface area could never have reached because they only have their specific audience. A content curator has the potential audience of every single piece of hypergraph content they curate. And that's a different kind of value. And that's why the third pillar has been missing. Not because the role doesn't exist, but because there was no precedent for someone deciding to monetize content consumption from the position of a content consumer. I'm not saying it's been proven. I'm trying to prove it. I believe it's possible. I'm building toward it. I'm naming where we actually are, not where I want us to be. Most people who reach the point where they could become curators take the creator path instead, because that path is visible, because that path has a name, because that path has a model. Or they use playlists internally, privately, and never think to market them outwardly. Because the moment you decide to market your playlist, you feel like you've become a creator. So you lean into creation and let curation go. That's supply side versus demand side. And that's the entire deficit. The content consumer focuses on demand side content consumption. For them, demand side consumption is a science. That's where the consumer lives. That's where the curator lives. Supply side, that's the creator. Content curation is the middle way. It's what differentiates it from being a content creator. It's what differentiates it from being a content consumer. And that is what makes it a valid co-equal role within the consumer, creator, and curator economy. That is something neither the creator nor the consumer can provide on their own. That is the three audience triad. Playlist theory for content consumers, playlist theory for content creators, playlist theory for content curators. Three fundamentally different roles, three fundamentally different problem sets, three doctrines built specifically to address each one honestly. If anything in this video has landed for you, if you recognized yourself somewhere in these three roles, the next step isn't to keep watching videos here. The next step is to go to Mr. Pollock 890. That's Mr. Polik 890. That is our playlist archive channel. That's where 15 years of active content consumption has been organized into a navigable structure that you can move through by category, by domain, by priority queue. If you're new to this practice entirely, start with the Start Here playlist. It's designed to orient you before you go exploring on your own. If you already know what you're looking for, browse the publicly available playlists tab directly and check out the post section for unlisted playlists organized by more specific domains. The algorithm delivers content. This delivers context. Mr. Pollock 890. The link is in the description. Go there. And I'll see you in the Consume Digest.